Hey, what's going on, guys? Hope you're doing good today. Hope you're staying blessed out there. Want to have a little conversation about this Fantano story. Fantano's getting a little backlash right now, and it's over a review, okay? He gave an album by a rapper we're going to talk about in a second. He gave that rapper a review for their project that they recently dropped, and then a lot of people are mad at that. So I want to get my take on that. And then also in the second part of the video, we're going to talk about some recent controversy involving the boy Lil Nas X, okay? But let's start with the Fantano topic first. So if you guys don't know what's going on, right? Fantano, the boy Fantano, the internet's busiest music nerd, he recently dropped a review, okay? And the review was an album that, or actually the deluxe version of Sexy Red's project. If you guys don't know who Sexy Red is, she's a rapper who started catching heat this year, actually. She's from St. Louis, and she's definitely one of the more popular female rappers right now, at least on social media, next to Ice Spice. But Fantano dropped this review right here of her deluxe album, okay? And he gave it an 8. And suddenly the whole world lost their shit. Well, I don't want to say the whole world. That's obviously an over-exaggeration. But a lot of people, especially on Twitter, had a lot of things to say. And, Fantano, he was kind of going back and forth with a couple people. And he responded. On this one tweet, he said, "Just say you hate women rapping about the same shit you love hearing men rap about." And that was as a response to someone who said, "That might be the worst review you ever made." Another person on Twitter said, "Ah, yes, finally a worthy, strong 8. And Fantano, he said, "Y'all give even higher scores to songs from your favorite rappers, spitting about giving their dicks sucked. F off." This is not the first time people have gotten angry at Fantano for a review. This is actually pretty common, and that's obviously because of his position in the industry, right? If you guys don't know, Fantano is very influential, and so he has the power to shift the narrative. Fantano is literally given scores that have changed perceptions of certain artists, right? And that speaks to his influence, and that speaks to his impact. This is also controversial because of Sexy Red's position in the game. She's just not very liked. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of Sexy Red, and I have a couple things to say about her. We're going to get to that in a second. Fantano's influence runs deep, man. And I think the fact that so many people literally get angry at a review from a guy who professionally does this and has been doing this for a long time, that says a lot about the influence that he has and carries. And I'll be honest with you, I think another big reason why people are mad at this is because people just don't have anything better to do. I mean, at the end of the day, this is just a review, and Fantano's opinion is not the end all be all. He's just a guy who's a music nerd who literally sits in his house all day, listens to music, and gives his opinion about said music. And I'm thinking about something, from like a couple years ago. Or it was actually like a while ago, and that's just a couple years ago. But, Fantano, he dropped his review on Under Pressure, which I love. I think it's a great album. But he gave Under Pressure a 6, okay? And I'll be honest with you, for a second, I was a little mad. Because I think that's a classic, and I think that album deserves a higher rating. But let's actually talk about the rating aspect of Fantano rating these albums, like these scores, okay? The reason why this is not such a big deal, in my opinion, is because people forget this, by the way, when it comes to Fantano. I get it. He has opinions that a lot of people are not too fond of. And like I said, he shifts the narrative. And again, that speaks to his influence. But the thing you got to remember about these scores and ratings that he gives these albums is they're actually not correlated. Meaning, if Fantano gives Sexy Red an 8, and he gives, let's say, I believe he gave Astroworld a 6. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'll just put the score on the screen. But he gave it a lower rating, that's for sure, right? These two are not correlated in the sense that one project getting a certain rating is not intertwined with the quality. It says nothing about the other project when one project gets a certain rating. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people are missing when it comes to Fantano. People look at the rating and they don't look at the project that he's rating in context to the score that he gave the project. They're not intertwined, and there's no correlation. And that's why I don't think this is a big deal. Honestly, I think people are just always looking for something to be mad about. He gives a rating, and people get their panties in a bunch, and people say that he does not belong in the culture, and people say all these things, because they may not agree with the rating that he gives the project. At the end of the day too, these ratings and these scores, it comes down to enjoyment. Like, Sexy Red is someone I'm not a big fan of, and I'm gonna tell you in a second, but she has 2 songs, Ski and Pound Town. Not just live Pound Town. She has 2 songs that I really like. Another thing about these scores, and another reason why I don't think this score is so crazy, is because another reason why I don't think this score is so crazy at all is because no one does Sexy Red better than Sexy Red does Sexy Red. She has a very unique identity, and that's one thing I'm gonna give her. I'm not a fan of her, but I will give her that. There's no one in the industry like Sexy Red. That's one of the biggest appeals when it comes to her, and that's why she's so popular. And obviously she's popular because the industry decided to boost her up. So, let's talk a little bit about that, okay? Some of my thoughts on Sexy Red. Personally, I think Sexy Red enforces a very negative stereotype of black people, okay? And obviously Fantano's not going to say this if he thought that. I'm not saying that's what he thinks, but let's say he had that thought. Of course, he's not going to say it. He's a white man on the internet commenting on black culture, right? But I can say it. I think she enforces a very negative stereotype of black people, and this is what we call a caricature. Just like how a lot of y'all favorite rappers, or maybe you don't listen to street rappers, but street rappers are one good example. Street rappers are a very negative, and we're talking about the men, right? They're a very negative caricature of, or they promote a very negative caricature of the black man. Guns, the gangster lifestyle, talking about all this stuff that's not good for the community. And unfortunately, what happens is there's a lot of people who, and I'm not saying that you should cater to these kinds of people, but this is true, right? There's a lot of people who don't have any connection to black people, okay? And their only world into a black person is through music, is through media, is through the things that the culture promotes. And so when we have a Sexy Red, or when we have a, let's say, Lil Durk, okay? I like Lil Durk's music, but he's a very negative caricature of what a black man is. Just listen to his music. You can't tell me otherwise, okay? Overall, I think the idea of a Sexy Red and the idea of a lot of these other rappers who talk about certain things that are not good for the community, I think they're a net negative in society. Is it music? Sure. But music promotes certain ideas, and these ideas are not good. And like I said, the street rappers, they get pushed for the same reasons. And Sexy Red is not worse than the guys from this perspective, because one of the reasons why a lot of people are upset at this review is because they're looking at the reviews, the score that Fantano's given other artists, let's say other male rappers, and they say, how can you give Sexy Red this score? And why are you not giving this artist or that artist a higher score? Well, like we clarified, they're not correlated. And second of all, music is a unique experience, man. Who's to say that Fantano doesn't actually enjoy Sexy Red? Like I said, I literally enjoyed 2 records from Sexy Red, and they're banging. Like, they're on my playlist. I listen to them when I'm in the gym. Overall, as an artist though, I don't like her, and I imagine that maybe you feel the same way. Maybe you don't like Sexy Red, and maybe just like me, you would not give her an 8. I would give Sexy Red, if I had to rate her as an artist, I would probably give her like a 2. Okay, just like a 2. She deserves a 2 in my opinion. She doesn't deserve higher than a 2. But that can change because she can improve. At the end of the day, man, it's a review. It is a review, guys. Please calm down. There's other things in this world that we need to focus on those things, man. Like inflation. Things are getting ridiculously expensive. Why are we not angry at that? I mean, you can obviously feel some type of way about both, but I think this is a signal. Like, anyone who's genuinely upset about this, I do think you need to take a chill pill. At the end of the day, man, Fantano is a professional reviewer, and I think people need to take a chill pill. This is what he does. This is what he's been doing, and this is what he's going to continue to do. And if you have an issue with his take, well, shit, maybe you need to start your own channel and give Sexy Red a lower rating than 8, right? It is what it is, man. I don't agree with Fantano most times, actually. But I do respect the fact that he stands for what he believes in, which is he's bumping Sexy Red. And that's cool. Fantano, keep bumping Sexy Red, man. If you like her music, that's cool. It is what it is. Anyway, the Fantano topic aside, I also want to talk about this Lil Nas X topic. So let's talk a little bit about this. If you guys don't know, Lil Nas X, he's been trending on the internet for the last couple of days. Now the question is, why has he been trending? Well, he's kind of back trolling on Twitter, but Specifically this, I'm not sure if this is trolling, so I'm not going to call it that. So what happened is a few days ago, Lil Nas X, he dropped a snippet. And in this snippet, it's like a song that I believe he's working on this. It might be on his album, I'm not sure. But it appears as he was talking to God in this snippet, okay? In the song, he says, "Give me hope when I feel less." And he also wore a shirt that said, "If God doesn't exist, then who's laughing at us?" Now, the question is, why was this controversial? Well, there are a lot of conservative Christians who spoke out against Lil Nas X, and they thought that he was mocking Christianity. Obviously, Lil Nas X, he's a troll in the game. He's one of the biggest trolls of the music industry. I mean, he literally trolled himself to having one of the biggest songs of the century. I believe Old Town Road is actually the biggest song of the century. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it is, actually. But, a lot of conservative Christians, they spoke out against him because they thought he was mocking Christianity. And there was also this Christian rapper who ended up dissing Nas. And I want to play you this snippet, so just listen to this. Hey, what a way to start a song, right? But this guy ended up getting a lot of clout from this. Like, he literally dropped this record a couple days within of Lil Nas X dropping the snippet, and it ended up going viral on Twitter. And a lot of people ended up supporting the record, but a lot of people ended up speaking out against him because apparently the guy, he's like in his 30s, right? And people are saying, "Hey, you're an older man, right? You're hating on this young guy." Lil Nas X is, I believe he's 24 or 23. Yeah, so Lil Nas X is 24 years old. So this guy, his name is, I believe it was Bryson Gray, and he was getting a lot of pushback because people felt like he was being hypocritical. Like, you say that you're Christian, but yet you're attacking a young man who could actually be not trolling. And again, like, this is not, there's no right answer. Like, we don't really know if he's trolling. I don't really know Lil Nas X's intentions. Now, his track record says that he indulges in a lot of antics, but also too, this is a pretty serious thing. Like, I mean, in the song, he literally says, "Give me hope when I feel less." To me, that sounds like something that comes from the heart. And the song sounds good, by the way. It sounds amazing. But the thing that a lot of people were bringing up is they were looking at the shirt that he was wearing that said, "If God doesn't exist, then who's laughing at us?" That could be taken as a mockery, right? Obviously, this is also controversial because of the "Call Me By Your Name" music video where Nas was, like Beyblade spinning on the devil. You know what he did, right? Just, what he did. But a lot of people took this as disrespect, and he got a bunch of backlash. Now, the question is, was he mocking Christianity? Well, I'll say this, man. People can change. And when it comes to Lil Nas X, because he has an identity of a troll, anything that he does is going to be looked as he's trolling. And that's the one thing that I want to say is always going to play against him, or work against him would be a better term, because he has his track record of someone who's always indulging in antics, and because he's trolled so much. I mean, he literally trolled himself all the way to a #1, and he literally trolled himself to having some of the biggest records in the music industry, which is crazy. I mean, it's just insane that that's possible, but that's possible. Obviously, he succeeded because he's talented and he makes some good music. That's the difference between 6ix9ine or, like, let's say like a Lil Nas X. Nas is actually talented. That's the difference. Most rappers or just most artists, period, who indulge in antics and clout stunts, they do that because the music ain't enough to get them there. Nas used the antics to put attention back on himself and his talent and his music, and so in the end, he won. And the thing is too, the "Call Me By Your Name" music video, and I never really truly realized this, but that music video was a symbol for him living his truth. He has a part in a song where he says, "You live in the dark, boy, I cannot pretend." That's him essentially speaking and telling his truth by saying, "I used to live in the dark and I'm not pretending anymore." And the music video is actually connected to the song, which is something a lot of people never realized. And a lot of people looked at the fact that he was, Beyblade spinning on the devil, and they hyper-focused on that while completely ignoring the fact that there was actually a representation for a bigger truth in that song and in that music video, which is also why I can't say for certain that he's trolling with this song. The truth is, Lil Nas X has kind of been gone from the industry for like how long? I mean, he's been quiet for like the last year and a half. Completely quiet. He has not done anything, right? He hasn't even dropped music since his last project. The last song he dropped was Star Walking, right? And that was pretty long ago. That was on September 22nd, 2022. So it's been a long time since he dropped music. And this is one of the reasons why I'm not too sure if he's trolling. He could definitely be genuine. And that's also why I said earlier, people can change. Like, we do have to give people the room to change, because sometimes what happens is, because someone is known for a certain thing, people assume that they're still stuck on that. Also, when it comes to something that's as real as religion, of course, some people can use that as a clout tactic. But when it comes to something like religion, people can sometimes have this inner conversation with themselves, and it can actually end up reflecting in the art. That's what an artist is. An artist speaks their mind, they speak their truth, they speak their soul, and they share these things in the music because they can't do it in words. And to the Christian rapper who dissed them, I do think you gotta take a step back and look at this from a broader perspective. I understand you might feel like he's mocking Christianity, but at the end of the day, what makes you the authority to say he's not a Christian or he's not this? What gives you the right to say that? People can have a different relationship with God that others can't really see. And one thing I've realized, in my life at least, is that sometimes people are not able to express those things in words, and they do it in other ways. They do it through other means, so to speak. And sure, he's someone who's known for trolling, but what if he's not trolling? What if he's completely serious? What if he's actually turning the tide and changing his ways, so to speak? Now what you're doing is, as someone who, you said that you're a Christian, right? You're a Christian rapper. That's what he labeled himself as. What if you're actually pushing him away from something that he was serious about? Have you ever thought about that? That's a different perspective, right? But anyway, I thought the song sounded dope. I think Lil Nas X is someone who's very talented, and honestly, I don't think people give him enough credit for the great artist that he is. He's actually one of the most talented young artists in the industry that's came out in the last couple of years. And I know a lot of people don't like to say that, but Lil Nas X is ultra talented. Like, he might be popular, but his talent actually matches his popularity. And I feel like he's actually not even big enough. The guy's still literally coasting off of a project he dropped in 2021. And he's still relevant. I mean, I'm talking about him. I see his name. I've seen his name being discussed in different places, even when he was completely quiet. So I think this speaks to his impact, right? He's not the biggest artist in the industry, but he has made a lot of impact in such a short amount of time. And maybe this path that he's gonna go on, let's say like this next project that he's gonna drop, maybe that's gonna be something where he shows a completely different side of himself. Because at the end of the day too, Nas is not the most intricate artist. Lil Nas X, I should say, not Nas, but like Lil Nas X is not the most intricate artist. He's a pop star. Pop stars usually, they have a tendency to kind of touch the surface on things. But the thing about Nas is, I just think his talent and his popularity is so strong to the point where he is greater than what a lot of people give him credit for. So that's what I think about this topic, and that's what I think about the Fantano topic. What do you guys think about the Fantano topic that I discussed, and what you think about this Lil Nas X story? Curious what you guys have to say, so yeah, let me know in the comment section below. Before we do that though, before we end this, just want to give a shout out to some of the people who donated. Thank you to I'm Most Definitely Trash. No, you're not trash. Come on, don't say that about yourself. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the love. Thank you for the nice comment. And shout out to Straight Facts. Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you, man. And also shout out to Mekmuski. Thank you for another donation. Mekmuski means a lot. Also, then shout out to producer Shaquif. Thank you so much for the donation. Also, shout out to Marcus J9815. Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so much. Also, shout out to The Rolling Church. Thank you for the donation. Thank you. Also, shout out to Diedrich Diamond 88. I appreciate you for the donation. Thank you so much. Also, shout out to Master 117. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Anyway, guys, that's for the video, and appreciate everybody who's been supporting. Really means a lot. Okay. Anyway, guys, I'm out, and you have a blessed day. Peace.